Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Great party, huh, guys?
Yeah.
This is Joe Dombrowski, one of the voices of PWO in Ohio and Ring of Honor.
This is Craig Classic, the real World Junior Heavyweight Champion.
Johnny Swinger here, the King of Swing.
This is Chemo, the Korean Super Soldier. This is Master Wayne Boozer of Texas Coast Karate.
This is Tasha Simone, former NWA World Women's Champion.
This is Universal Soldier Phil Shatter, also TNA Gunner.
This is the Master of Malice, Mark James, and you are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, liftoff.
Digging it, loving it, and spiking the meter again. Gee, what a surprise. Something I'm notorious for around this place. Tuesday night, glad to have you on board 6 minutes after the top of the hour. Welcome into Beyond Ringside. Fast Eddie Lane sitting in behind the control panel. Flying solo for a few minutes. Going to be joined by professional wrestling star Phil Stamper in just a matter of minutes right here on the Tuesday night edition. Special hello to everybody from the Machine Guff Grayson, was originally scheduled to join us this evening. We'll be coming back in a later episode. Speaking of, had a great conversation with Brooks Logan. He'll be coming back on to join us. Baron Von Awesome, Justin Rosenberg, slated to join us again in the very near future. You never know what's going to happen around this place, and damn it, that's why I love it. A couple of things I want to hit on real quick, and yes, the nip slip's going to come up in a minute. You knew I'd talk about it. Tomorrow night, Ohio Valley Wrestling will be at the Davis Arena, 4400 Shepherdsville Road, Louisville, Kentucky, 6:30 local time start time. Find out more, check out ovwrestling.com. Tomorrow night, RPW, Rockstar Pro Wrestling, 1106 East 3rd Street in Dayton, Ohio, 7 p.m. bell time. And also on Wednesday night, NOCW Wrestling is going to be at the Boyd County Fair in Ashland, Kentucky, 7 p.m. bell time. Got a lot of events that we're going to be running down, keeping the ears open, keeping the eyes open, and giving you great opportunities to get the hell out of the house and go enjoy some live events. And also working to get our MMA calendar and updates coming back in full steam as well, in contact with a good friend of the family, Vicky Jackson. And hoping to start getting some information rolling around in this area as well as across the U.S. And, we don't just stop there. We really don't. And want to go ahead and say to from Sunday night was a blast. That's the easy way to put it. I want to thank Mabo especially for the photo bomb at the end of the show. I don't know if anybody ever really thinks that I take stuff way too seriously. It's all about having a good time around here in every way possible. Also, thank you to everybody who listened in for GCW Radio this past Sunday night, 9 Central, 10 Eastern. Yours truly, Mad Dog Dan Sawyer, JJ Tanner, Damon Christopher of The Unlucky Charms. The Wicked Nemesis made a special appearance on GCW Radio, which is a rarity for him, as well as members and representatives of the Squared Circle. Cody O'Connor, Jeremy Foster, and Jake Cole came on GCW Radio. The Sunday night episode is available through Beyond Ringside Radio, which is right here where you're listening right now, unless you're listening on Ustream. And everybody listening on Ustream, chat room is open over at beyondringside.com. Drop on over and say hi. I'll be keeping my eyes on it as the night goes on. And let's go ahead and talk about it. It has been one of the most pointed topics of conversation in the social sphere over the last, 22 hours, 23 hours? The wardrobe malfunction by one of the Bella twins. Look, understand the concept. It's live television. I understand this. I appreciate this. I was okay with The View, personally. And I don't mean the show that comes on 10 a.m. Central Time on the ABC television network. Get over that crap. But by the same token, I also wish it was the one that had the slightly more endowed chesticle area. So we'll leave it at that. But hey, there are a number of different things. She wants to blame it on the lights that caused her to perspire, that caused the double-sided tape to come unsticky. So what? Who cares? It happened. Now, here's the fun part. Okay, I'm bored sometimes, so I will go back and pop a chronometer. And 3.5 seconds. Number one, considering it was as close as it was to the logo on the USA Network, the director didn't catch it, the cameraman didn't see it, nobody else saw it, other than maybe 4 million viewers. On top of that, more importantly, she didn't feel it? Come on. There's rumors floating around that the apology that she put out throughout the Bella Twins account on Twitter was actually a forced apology through the front office. Probably. And I'm just sitting back going to the entire internet wrestling community who has been making all of these cool little flyer poster picture gimmicks, the memes. Great job, guys. This has been one of the first times in human history that Facebook has allowed a female breast uncovered to stay on Facebook for more than 1 minute at a time. Because for some reason, they just seem to find it. Unless it is in a private or closed group. So, yeah, and here's the fun part. I went over to one of the groups that I sit in at every once in a while, the Pro Wrestling fan page over on Facebook. And lo and freaking behold, yeah, I shared one of the pictures. And within about an hour, it was gone. So thank you, Facebook. Once again, your police and moderation factor has just been absolutely amazing throughout this whole scenario. But by the same token, hey, what the hell? It's going to happen. And when you have people wearing outfits of that nature, a slip's going to happen. Now, as of late, it seems to be happening a lot to WWE. Remember, I do believe we've had one from Caitlyn in recent days. And as well, of course, so don't ask me how, but I think I actually missed that one. Damn it. Hate it when that happens. But it happens. Leave it at that. I don't know about you. Topic shift, segue, not a setup yet. And by the way, love to hear your thoughts over the next few minutes. For those of you listening in, 205-316-9900. Yes, the phone lines will be open for the next few. In about 18 minutes from now, like I said, scheduled to be joined by professional wrestling star Phil Stamper right here on Beyond Ringside. Tuesday night, back to basics. And then some. McMahon made the statement on Raw that you deserve what you get, and he installed Brad Maddox, I cannot believe I'm saying his name, in the context of being the general manager. The kid is boring. He tries to be perky, tries to be peppy, tries to be the cheerleader, tries to wear clothes that are too tight for him. 1973 called, they want the whole damn gimmick back. I know, I was there in 73. I was 7 years old, but I was still there in 73. And it was easy way to say a whole bunch of crap, but I'm just not going to say the words I really want to say. I don't know why they did what they did about installing Vicky as the GM over at SmackDown, but you know something? It's good to shake it up every once in a while. Because when you have the same old, it gets stale. And that is something that a lot of people had accused WWE of being up until about the time of the Summer of Punk and the infamous pipe bomb work shoot. Now, I think within 1 week of him being named general manager, he has officially surpassed, in most people's opinions, Mike Adamley's job as the worst GM of Raw ever. I think a lot of people were hoping for somebody like Jim Ross to come in, or Ric Flair to come in and be GM. Is that really going to be good for the product? Is it going to take away from the product? Because I know some people who aren't necessarily Jim Ross fans. But I'm going to say this. He would be a breath of fresh air and a very unlikely candidate to be general manager. Flair's been in the GM role before. I think the ratings were good. But at this point in time, would Ric Flair genuinely be an asset to Monday Night Raw as its general manager, and can he make the commitment? That's got to be one of the big questions that is asked all the way across the board. because whoever assumes that role is going to have to make a time commitment. Granted, primarily Monday and Tuesday and or pay-per-views. But still, I'm going to assume that that person is going to be on the road every once in a while when they do house shows. And possibly even when they do international events overseas. But it didn't happen. We got stuck with Maddox, who, like I said, I don't hate him. I don't dislike him. He's just boring. He reminds me of the little, if you're watching the old Tom and Jerry cartoons from days gone by, and you got Spike and the other, not necessarily Spike and Tyke, but you've got the other dog that's kind of like, yip, 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 right along with him. And that's what Brad Maddox's character reminds me of. Let's see, poser, boring, wannabe, non-existent. Yeah, that's about right. That's the easy way to say it. And they are working diligently to get this guy over in a heel character with the fan base. So therefore, his commentary about Daniel Bryan at the contract signing, or at the face-to-face to kick off the show, was actually, it was expected, because the character that Maddox has was voicing what a certain person in the front office of WWE has been saying. But I also agree with Triple H's comments to Maddox a little bit later in the broadcast. It's a simple fact of life. Not everything is going to fly the way you want it to, and the jacked up gym rats aren't always going to sell tickets. People got tired of Batista. Remember? I don't know about you, but a lot of people got tired of Batista. Even the women who thought he was all that in a bag of chips right off the bat. Guess what? They got tired of him because most of the gym rats are one-dimensional personalities. That is the easy way to say it. Now, all in all, last night, I'm not going to go into a long, drawn-out scenario about the overall thing from Monday Night Raw. I will say Sheamus Del Rio was slightly predictable. The minute that I saw Christian and Titus O'Neil take the ring, I knew that O'Neil was going to do the job. I knew that the second Darren Young came out to face, when it was Ziggler facing Darren Young, you knew it was going to be Ziggler, and you knew that Big E and AJ were going to try to do something. And this time, it was Ziggler's turn. They did a perfectly predictable episode on so many storylines. I don't know what the real purpose of Jerry coming in to co-MC Miz TV, other than the fact that Miz had just been given the gimmick of hosting SummerSlam. Snore. Which is about the same thing that I'm thinking about Total Divas. Snore, snooze. It's going to be basically a vehicle for somebody to placate their ego. And if nothing else, they could have picked somebody better than the Bella Twins. I'm sorry. 9 times out of 10, they're horrid in the ring. They're flat, they're stale, plain and simple. They have no life to them whatsoever. But unfortunately, right now on the microphone, except for AJ, who's still playing the space case, guys dig crazy chicks. The Bellas are the best they've got. We don't know about Eva Marie. Naomi and Cameron, I don't know how good they are on the microphone right now at this point in time, if they're strong enough to carry a show. Natalya, not strong enough to carry the show. Beautiful woman, great personality, but can she single run it? No. Not in my humble opinion. And I know nothing about JoJo Offerman. Same thing on that particular circumstance. I would need to see more. So right now, unfortunately, yeah, the Bella Twins are the best bet. Because who else right now? Let's turn the tables and turn it over to Impact. With the people that they have remaining after the releases and after the terminations and after the resignations, who do they really have that's going to be strong enough? I know, all in all, it's not that bad. But the only thing that I can see for Total Divas is to be a complete and total estrogen-based train wreck. Kind of like summer camp on the USA Network is nothing but a hormonal train wreck all the way across the board. And getting back to the comment of the slap. Yeah, Lawler probably doesn't mind playing the patsy on stuff like that. I mean, granted, he is a legend. He's got more shower time than every diva in that ring at that point has ring time. I know that's a phrase you haven't heard in a day or two. And I don't know if Miz would have let that go, considering the fact, well, you just asked me to host SummerSlam. Are you sure it's a good idea for me to get slapped like that? Hell yeah. Because you have nothing to do with that show. You have nothing to do with Total Divas. It's not going to take away from you being the host of SummerSlam and not wrestling. Nothing whatsoever. Now, that I've said that part, 20 minutes after the top of the hour, Beyond Ringside Tuesday night, back to basics. And I was looking over some notes and reminded of the fact that last night's Raw did take place in the great state of Texas. I love the bit that Paul Heyman said to CM Punk in the via satellite booth. I really like the way that he did that. I have no qualms with that whatsoever, even making it look like Brock was up there with him. So, hey, Paul Heyman on a microphone is gold. He is someone who can take a crowd, get their attention, keep their attention, and ride the roller coaster, get them to ride the roller coaster along with him. CM Punk last night in the ring on the microphone for the first time in a long time actually looked predictable, but still solid CM Punk performance on the microphone. Taking it one step further, I was making a reference to the state of Texas. Had a great conversation. Longtime listeners and friends of Beyond Ringside are going to know this name. DJ Texas Bull Rider Angel Clark. Slated to come and join us possibly next Tuesday night right here on BR Back to Basics. We're with everything going on. A lot of the familiar names that have called Beyond Ringside home are coming back to make it home all over again. And looking forward to it. So like I said, possibly next Tuesday night, the combination of Fast Eddie Lane and DJ Texas Bull Rider. Like I said, you never know what's going to happen, and I like it that way. Because sometimes, I don't know. But a lot of people have been going completely off in a good way about the performance of Daniel Bryan last night on Monday Night Raw. The match with Swagger was short. And by all means, yes, it was short. Should it have been? Yes. Because if you noticed the graphic that they were using for the majority of the night on Raw, it had Daniel Bryan's face and 3 blank cards, 3 blank spaces. So you knew right then it was going to be 3. When I saw the fact that it was Swagger and Cesaro out at ringside, I knew they were going to go back to back. That was predictable. Who the third person was going to be? Didn't exactly expect Ryback. Wasn't looking for that. Was I happy the fact that they did bring him out? Yeah. Did I know that it was going to be a decent matchup between the two? Yeah, because Daniel Bryan can make an empty barbell look good in the ring. And I'm sorry, compared to the way he was when he was Skip Sheffield, Ryback is not the same person inside the ring. And I don't know if it's because of injury, because of a change from creative, or what. But it's genuinely not the same. Is his, skill set, move set the same? No. He's relying a lot more on power moves now, of course, because he's doing the Ryberg, or whatever you want to call him. I still love the fact that people are chanting Goldberg. People, get over the crap. It sounds cute for a minute. That's it. It's not the same as doing the Fandango in the middle of another match, which to me was hilarious as hell every time I've seen it. Yes, the bit's over. I love it. I genuinely do. Did I know that Daniel Bryan and Antonio Cesaro was going to light it up? Yes. I knew it beyond a shadow of a doubt. Why? Because I've watched these two for a few years now. I know what they're capable of doing. Do I think that their styles are toned down a little bit because of WWE? Yes. Do I think the moveset's cut down a little bit because it's WWE? Yes. Do I wish it was back in Ring of Honor? Yes. Am I happy that it's on the WWE platform? Hell yes. Both men are very talented performers in ring, and they damn well deserve every minute of the spotlight. And for the people who look at Antonio Cesaro and say that he is boring in the ring, would you please grow up and get a damn clue? He's doing what he can with the character that they've given him. He is a very skilled person in the ring. And hopefully a lot of you saw that for the first time last night. If you've been sleeping the rest of the time when he was defending the United States title, if you saw that last night on Raw, that he does actually have the skills, thank you. Finally, a lot of you get a clue. Plain and simple. And then when they brought out Ryback, I'm sitting back going, somebody needs to pay Daniel Bryan overtime for this. Because we saw the match series between Ryback and Cena. Plain and simple. They were okay. They weren't good. They were damn sure weren't great. They were okay. They were passable, tolerable, and almost respectable. But they weren't good. Not by my standards. And 25 plus years in the business, I think I've earned the right to say something. By the same token, I haven't really earned the right. I'm just taking the privilege. Thanks for playing. Getting ready to go to the bottom of the hour break in just a second, but I'm going to go and wrap it up by saying this as far as the Daniel Bryan Ryback thing. I said it a second ago, and I will repeat it. I knew that Daniel Bryan should get overtime pay for having to work a little bit harder to make Ryback really look good. Because it's not the same Ryback. I said it earlier, I'll say it again. I genuinely believe that in my heart of hearts. Under normal circumstances, had the match been a year ago? Yeah. Or a year and a half ago? Yeah. I think it would have lit up that much more. I think that Daniel Bryan made Ryback look good and better than normal. But that is just my opinion. At Beyond Ringside over on Twitter. Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live. Catch us on the social media, and the chat room, of course, is open all the way through the show. This Tuesday night thing is going to continue in just a minute, but we're going to the bottom of the hour break a minute earlier, and when we come back, professional wrestling star Phil Stamper right here on Beyond Ringside. Back to basics. Hang tight.
Hey, Dad, how do you throw a curveball? How do you build a fort? How do refrigerators run? How do fish learn how to swim?
Kids ask a lot of questions.
How high can you jump?
But you don't have to know every answer.
How many phone numbers are there?
Because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent.
How do cell phones work?
There are thousands of children in foster care who don't need every question answered.
What's electricity?
They just need you.
What's the moon made of?
For more information on how you can adopt, go to adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Move Time Radio, presented by the Arthritis Foundation, and we're smack dab in the middle of our dance-a-thon to fight arthritis pain. Me, I've been grooving for 10 hours straight, baby, but I'm a boogie machine. See, movement is just one of the ways to help fight osteoarthritis pain. Another is weight loss. You get rid of just 1 pound. That's 4 pounds of pressure off each knee. For more information on managing pain, visit fightarthritispain.org. Then meet me on the dance floor. This message brought to you by the Arthritis Foundation and the Ad Council.
Monsters could be living under your child's bed or in the bathtub. For a child with asthma, it can seem like monsters are everywhere. Because something as innocent as a teddy bear could trigger their next asthma attack. But there are simple ways you can help, like putting stuffed animals in the freezer to kill dust mites and drying bath toys to prevent mold. Learn more at noattacks.org or call 866-NO-ATTACKS. Because their next breath is in your hands. Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
The odds of becoming a signed artist and having 3 #1 albums? 1 in 100 million. The odds of going on to win 6 Grammy Awards? 1 in 1.4 million. The odds of this performer having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 88. I'm Toni Braxton, and I encourage you to learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Autism Speaks. It's time to listen. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Amanda Pete. Like all new parents, my husband and I want what's best for our baby. When it was time for our daughter's immunizations, we wanted the facts. So we carefully researched vaccines. We spoke with doctors and other experts and asked some tough questions. We decided that vaccines were the best thing for our child. I urge you to get the facts. Learn the facts about vaccines so you can make the best healthcare decisions for your family. Thank you.
A message from the American Academy of Pediatrics and vaccinateyourbaby.org.
Remember when your neighbor found us naked in the car, and the time some outdoor action got us kicked out of the park, getting frisky in the dark. I gave your eye a poke. Think the dog is in the bed. Do I smell smoke? You and me, we never ever ever give up.
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Visit bedsider.org to compare all the choices. Brought to you by Bedsider and the Ad Council. Bedsider.org.
You are a waste. A loser. Everyone hates you. Why don't you just stay in your car and keep driving? I'm serious. Drive until you run out of gas, then get out of your car and walk until you find someone who doesn't think you're dumber than bricks. Could take a while, but at least all that walking might burn a couple of calories.
You may not witness bullying like this every day. Your kids do. They want to help, but they don't know how. Visit stopbullying.gov to learn safe, simple ways your child can help stop bullying. Be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6 I make his breakfast. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6 I make his breakfast. At 7 I shower. Every day I wake up
For
at
those
5.
caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community to help us better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You must be your fairy godmother.
Cinderella's dream comes true because the glass slipper fits.
It fits.
In our world, the right fit can be just as important, especially when it comes to car seats. Always choose a car seat that's the right fit for your child's age and size to make sure your little pumpkin gets there safely every time.
Hop in, dear. Thank you.
For more information, visit safercar.gov/the right seat. This message has been brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Alright, I've gone through all the tracks, just move through the beats. Do your thing.
All right, everyone, let's hear it for West High's own Brooke Turner, a.k.a. DJ Hook.
Scratching at my first school dance takes confidence. So we're getting into college. I've got what it takes. So do you.
Visit knowhowtogo.org to learn what you should be doing right now to prepare for college. Start taking the steps at knowhowtogo.org. Brought to you by the American Council on Education, Lumina Foundation, and the Ad Council.
It takes 12 years to create a graduate. It takes about the same time to create a dropout. And at the end of the day, the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be you. So United Way is asking you to make a pledge. Tutor a child who needs help. Mentor a kid who needs someone on their side. Volunteer to read to children. Because when a child advances, we all advance. Be a reader, tutor or mentor. Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. Take the pledge now at liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Hey, what's up? Holla at your boy. XOXOXO. You getting these texts? Question mark. Where are you? What are you doing? OMG, you are making me mad. You better text me back. I'm waiting outside your house.
Relentless, aggressive texting is like sending an angry robot to deliver your message. When does the robot become dangerous? Let us know at that'snotcool.com.
That'snotcool.com.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something and... Oh, wait. Hold on. I just got a text.
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. So many comments on my comment.
Hey, guys, check out my new video game.
Mom, what?
Huh?
What'd you say?
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Into everyone's life, a little rain must fall, and in our case, in central Alabama, we've got our asses kicked. It was like a 2-hour Broadway match, plain and simple, between us, the thunder, the lightning, the ground, and everything in between. Welcome back into Beyond Ringside, 25 minutes before the top of the hour. Fast Study Lane, live from Noah's Ark after this afternoon, and that's the easy way to say it. And folks, like to welcome... Take two, try it again. Like to welcome in our very special guest at this time, pro wrestling star, the Phenom, Phil Stamper. Phil, glad to have you on board.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
I have actually been following you on and off for quite a while, especially over on Facebook, and I think before that over on MySpace as well. And for those who have not had a chance to, I'm going to lead with what I call the signature question. There are two moments for everyone in any walk of life, in any profession, or any dream that they choose to follow. In the world of pro wrestling, there is the moment that you become a fan. The second moment is when the light bulb goes off over the head and the little voice in the back of your head just goes, dude, I got to do this. For Phil Stamper, one of those moments.
Wow. I would say I was in middle school, and yes, middle school. I can't remember what first sucked me in, but I remember my first feud was WCW. It was Sting versus Black Scorpion, and for some reason, I just was totally in on it. Don't ask me why. I don't know. But I also got in at the same time. It was Hogan Warrior going into, they had their thing at Royal Rumble, and then they went into WrestleMania that year. I remember watching Undertaker debut at Survivor Series, but I had seen him on the Clash of the Champions a couple months before that. So that was the era I got into watching wrestling. At the same time, near that, I remember not too much longer after that, I wrote a letter to WCW and WWE, and at the time, Global, saying, wow, wrestling is awesome, and shouldn't there be kids wrestling? And so, even then, I knew I was going to be involved in professional wrestling in some way or another.
Now, who do you give credit, or actually, where did you start training?
Well, I started to train, and I guess to give a little bit of backstory, when I first wanted to get into the business, and I knew I wanted to get into the business, and actually, kind of going off that letter, I knew back then, WCW actually responded back to me and was like, well, you need training, and you need to be probably 18. And so I first started to learn, there's these places you can go train at. From there, I sort of made a decision, okay, do I go to college or do I pay for training? And what I started to do is, let me find out if this is an industry I really want to get into. So as I went to college, I started to work in the back for various different promotions. Cue Ball Carmichael's IPWA or different wrestling federation out of Pennsylvania. And then, as luck so happened, somebody I knew outside of indie wrestling was going to a new training school up in Baltimore. And I, at the time, had transferred to Frostburg State University in Western Maryland. And it was sort of when I say a close connection, it was a one-way 2-hour drive, but I made it several times a week to go and get trained. It was at a place called the Dominion that was run by Otto Stark.
Okay.
Out in Baltimore.
Butterflies, moths, hummingbirds, condors, or pterodactyls before your first match?
Say that again.
Most people, the little gimmick phrase about being nervous is butterflies in your stomach. Or have you not heard that one?
You know what? It felt so natural, and I think the reason, I don't remember that feeling of nervousness. I wrestled the guy that made the connection to find training. I ended up wrestling him, and I had known him for a while. I had been competing in amateur wrestling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Judo by this point. So for me, it felt like a very natural progression to just go into a ring.
Do you find yourself, now you bring up the jiu-jitsu, and of course one of the running discussions we've had here on this show and our sister shows is the impact of mixed martial arts on the world of professional wrestling. Has Dana White one-upped Vince McMahon in the way that he handles certain things as far as the UFC goes, as far as the UFC brand goes? Because you've got different, go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know if it's necessarily a one-up. In a way, I think UFC has followed very closely the WWE model. And right now, UFC and mixed martial arts is this big hot thing. And actually, I don't even say right now. I actually think it's sort of bypassed the top. And not that I'm saying it's sliding downhill in a dramatic fashion, but I think it's sort of past its highest point. And I could be wrong, it could swing back around. But, they did The Ultimate Fighter. You mean Tough Enough? They started putting promo packages together. Oh, you mean like everything WWE has ever done since the 80s?
Character vignettes?
They started to give... Oh, sorry.
Character vignettes, yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly where I was going to go to. They've developed characters and storylines for their fighters. And you can't tell me that isn't a direct feed-off from professional wrestling. At the same time, like I said, mixed martial arts is very hot, so why not push yourself as far as you can go? But at the same time, it sounds like UFC and WWE have a friendly, at least handshake relationship to not aggravate one another and to be cautious of each other's dates.
Would that have anything to do with the fact that it was rumored that Shane McMahon was actually consulting UFC for a while?
I could see that too, and at the same time that allegedly happened or is happening, you know, he apparently pissed off Vince a lot at that point too.
Oh yeah.
But it seemed like that was even happening beforehand.
Now, I'm familiar with some of your work through some of the companies in the Northeast and the Atlantic States area, especially one that pops into my head is Combat Zone Wrestling. And I've had DJ Hyde has been on the show a couple of times. Matter of fact, he is scheduled to join us this coming Sunday night, July the 28th at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, right here on Beyond Ringside Radio Network. And when it comes, and I've done some work with IWA Deep South. Now, a lot of people think and get the misconception that companies like IWA Deep South and Mid South when it was around, and Combat Zone and West Side Extreme, WXW out of Germany, that they because they advertise the ultra-violent or the hardcore more than anything else, that is a one-dimensional approach to getting people to look at them. But the true conception and the reality is, I don't know if I actually made sense on the first half of that sentence, but I'm going to try to make up for it on the second half, is the fact that companies like Combat Zone do actually offer something for everyone at every show they do, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the big point to remember. I mean, CZW is the same company, for example, that does Best of the Best.
Right.
It has a mixture of the best technical wrestlers that are around. The next event for Tangled Web 6 just announced Air Fox versus Andrew Everett. So two tremendous high flyers.
Yeah.
You have size and comedy in a Greg Excellent. You have a lot of up-and-coming young talent. I think that CZW, better than some other places, appreciates tag team wrestling. And you have established teams. You have Jake and Dave Christ. You have Blackout. You have Four Loko and Azrael and Bandito. You have the Beaver Boys in Johnny Silver and Alex Reynolds. So there's people who are there who are established as teams that CZW, I think, does and pushes very well.
What is the craziest situation or match that you've ever been involved in so far in your career? Okay, that's easy. About a year ago at AIWF Mid-Atlantic, I was in a 2-ring, 7-man, steel cage, Money in the Piggy Bank ladder match. So you had to climb up the ladder and pull off this pink pig piñata that would win you similar to Money in the Bank, that you get to then choose your title opportunity at any opportune time. Funny, a bright pink pig piñata that I have not seen.
It was rather entertaining.
Now, I make a reference to a couple of the companies with which you've worked. How many different organizations have you worked with?
I would say close to 50 or 60.
Good Lord. Now, here's the fun part. Because having worked in now, I'm going to assume that you've worked other areas in addition to the Northeast as well as the Atlantic states, right?
Yes.
Okay. In the geographic area of the continental 48 for the United States, one thing I love to find out, especially when you've worked a lot in the Northeast, you always you have a different light of the way that the things shine as far as the fans go, because different fan bases, geographically speaking, do actually respond differently to different stimuli as far as the in-ring activities go. Whether it be the style that a person uses in the ring, whether they be ground based, whether they be old school shooter or high flyer, X division, all of that above. And what has been the most? I had the words in my head a second ago. When it comes to the fan bases in different areas, which have been the most critical that you have seen?
Oh, wow. I want to say, instantly in my head, I want to say the Philadelphia Central Jersey crowd. They're vocal, and they like what they like, even if they're the only people that will ever like it and nobody else will like it, and they'll let you know. They're quick on their feet when it comes to giving you instant feedback.
Yeah.
So in that respect, I have to say that sort of like, and I'll even go, let's say Philly to New York crowd.
Okay, because I was watching the I've been keeping an eye on Raw over the last couple of weeks, especially going to Brooklyn and to the show they just did to not this week but the week before, and I'm watching the fans out of those markets, and I'm sitting back going, wow. Because a lot of people that I know in the sport of professional wrestling would get up to that area and they would become either enamored or hateful of the fan base up that way. Because
I mean, and that's just it too. Like, wrestling is a thing that people enjoy for various different reasons, and I think some people go not to enjoy it. Like, I think they really go to hate it and to hate on it. And part of me is like, I don't understand this concept of spending money to go to something that you're like, well, I hate this, but I support it. Like, it sometimes floors me.
Now, with the time that you've spent in the world of pro wrestling, someone comes up to you, you get a kid coming up to you, per se, the next time you're at a show, and they ask you, what's the first piece of advice that pops into your head when they ask you about getting into pro wrestling?
To find a reputable school, to find some place where they can really go and learn, that is well connected, that has good trainers, that is networked.
Now, one thing that I've noticed is that you are great about shameless self-promotion. As one dude, I have been called the oracle of shameless self-promotion. If there is a way to get the name of the Magic City Motor Mouth Fast Study Lane out there, I've probably done it. Short of actually monogramming diapers, which that would be a redundancy to have my name on a diaper. Think about it. I have to ask you, this is something that I saw when I was doing some when I was doing some looking around. Explain to everybody fill or no fill.
Oh, God.
You knew it was going to happen sooner or later, didn't you?
I had a feeling, like, in the back of my head that this might come up at some point, and now there's even people at CZW who are picking up on this, and it's scary. So, when I went to AIWF Mid-Atlantic, for those of you who don't know me, I shave my head, and I have this whole patch, and I don't call it a chin strap, because it's actually under the chin line, but I started getting Howie chants, like, as in Howie Mandel, and things like deal or no deal, or where's the briefcase, or where's the model. And so people now chant Howie at me. And then at the last CZW event, just walking through the crowd at intermission, people started to shout Howie at me. I'm very disturbed by this.
I saw the graphic that was up on a particular site, and I will sit back and say, dude, you pull this off to a T.
Oh, Lord.
Completely and totally, you pull this off to a T. If I'm you, you could make this a segment on somebody, if not your own webcast or a radio show. You could actually do that. I think you could get away with it.
There's a chance. I've definitely played it up. Let's put it that way. And, other people like to play it up, too. And I think one of my favorite in-ring promos that I did was with a guy named Eric C. Jones down at AIWF Mid-Atlantic. And in the midst of it, he comes out and talks me up like I'm Howie Mandel, and then challenges me to a match, and then goes, and what do you think? Deal or no deal? And I wanted to punch him in the face.
How hard was it to keep a straight face when he did that?
I'm very good with the sarcastic grin.
Welcome to the... Yeah, I understand that one very well. Now, when it comes to events, one of the things I've been looking at is an upcoming event, speaking of Combat Zone, October the 10th, up in Voorhees, New Jersey. And it's going to be a back-to-back show, or a doubleheader, so to speak. The Stars of Combat Zone Wrestling are going to be coming on, I believe it's at 7:30 local time. And then you've also got WSU, and I keep wanting to say Women's Superstars or Wrestling Superstars Uncensored.
Yeah, and you said October, you mean August, right?
August. Did I say October? Damn it. Would somebody...
one of those dates.
Folks, right now, the part of Fast Study Lane is going to be played by Fast Study Lane, but if you see Fast Study Lane wandering around here aimlessly, please tell him to get his ass back in the studio. Okay. It happens. August the 10th, in Voorhees, New Jersey, Combat Zone Wrestling Tangled Web. It's actually going to be what they call a deadly doubleheader with the stars of WSU, which is a women's promotion, primarily. And they've had some great names come through, and actually some of those names have come on Combat Zone shows.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes down to it, and you know that the front office of Combat Zone is doing like a deathmatch tournament, and you hear that a female competitor wants to get involved in this, what is the first thing that pops into your head?
I'm not sure if I followed. You mean just in general with a female wanting to get into wrestling?
No.
Or a female wanting to get into CZW?
The
or
hardcore.
Are you saying a female that wants to go, I want to do a death match?
Yeah, the death match.
I will say that's a little bit more on the rare end when it comes to female competitors. At the same time, there are some pretty tough-ass women out there. Excuse my language.
Go ahead.
That will give it to any man. And, some of them I don't want to cross too harsh. Christina Von Eerie recently comes to mind, who had a match with CZW World Heavyweight Champion Masada.
Yeah.
I think about Chrissy Rivera, who just had. Now that was a little bit of a different thing because it was a death match, but it was an ultra violent food fight. So there was as much barbed wire as there was also cream-filled pies. I'm just saying.
I'm surprised nobody tried to build a habanero cream pie out for that event.
Oof.
Stiff, huh?
That's hot in more ways than one. Lufisto as well. So there's definitely a history of women who want to do that, but that's not the majority of women. They're just like any other competitor, male or female. People want to have that opportunity to show what they can do in the ring,
right,
and show what they can do to excel and how they're different or how they can stand out. And at the same time, and I know this a little bit behind the scenes when it comes to our relationship with some of our companies overseas, and what they're even trying to look for and ask for is they want to see some more female competitors who are top-notch and top quality. And again, with a company like CZW that has that kind of exposure and that kind of network linkage to other companies that are international, why not showcase or try to showcase yourself at CZW?
Now, slight segue. This is but it's staying on CZW for one hot second. This is something I meant to ask in the early part of our conversation. How did the Masada benefit go?
How did the what again?
The Masada benefit. Did everything come out okay on it?
To be honest, I was not physically there, but from what everybody else has told me, it went off very well. There was an opportunity for some additional talents that normally don't work some CZW events to also get on, and some of those talents went on and worked at the Beyond Wrestling event that was on Sunday.
You mentioned Beyond Wrestling. I have to say this. They have got the coolest URL for their website I have ever heard of in my life, plain and simple, and I'm sure you know what that one is, right?
Mm-hmm. LookMaNoFans.com.
Hell yes. I told my boss with Global Championship Wrestling down here in Alabama about that, and he's like, "You've got to be kidding me." I said, "Nope. Look it up. LookMaNoFans.com." And he said, "What's the name of this company?" I said, "It's Beyond Wrestling." He said, "Do you have a copyright on?" "I'm not doing Beyond Wrestling. I do Beyond Ringside." Of course, I've had Beyond Ringside ever since '98, so we'll leave that at that. Now, in ring, singles or tags, which do you prefer?
Oh, singles.
When you do tag, what do you look for in a good tag team partner?
Somebody who is easy to communicate with and talk with, somebody who I know I can trust. Somebody who what gets interesting is sometimes it sort of depends on what you know is going to be coming up or what you think you really need. Because there's times when it's like, I want somebody who is very technically minded, who is intelligent and with it. And there's other times you're like, you know what, you really need a team. You really need somebody who has a different skill set than you, so that way you can cohabitate as a team, because you will excel at one spot where they might not, and they'll excel in another place where you might not.
From the mind of Phil Stamper, give me one asset and one liability about the World Wide Web as it pertains to professional wrestling.
I'm going to say the availability. You said one word or one thought?
One good thing and one bad thing. One asset, one liability.
I'm going to say Facebook currently Facebook for the win. For both, because in one respect, Facebook is an amazing tool. Not only is it for the social marketing aspect, you can communicate very quickly to people you know, and you can make public pages and all that kind of stuff where you can help promote your promotion. Notice the word help, because other people wait and only rely on utilizing Facebook as their only tool to put the word out about their promotion. Companies that have been around for a long time might be able to get that kind of rub because they already have established a certain kind of following. Many other companies, if you've never run anything before, only putting it up on Facebook and only sharing it with the people who are your friends on Facebook, that is not going to help you. It's not going to help your company. So not only relying on Facebook, but utilizing it as a tool that it was created for.
And expounding on what you just said, I have to put this in play. When I work a show and I've noted who has and has not made a statement about their upcoming events on their Facebook page, I will sit back and say, and exactly when did you put this on your Facebook page? Well, I put it up there a week and a half ago. I said, okay. And how many posts have you made since that? Oh, probably about 40 or 50. I said, so that has pushed that how far down your timeline? So if somebody didn't see it right then and there, they're already having to dig through 40, 50 things to find that post about your upcoming appearance, right? Yeah. Gotta love that mentality, don't you?
Right.
Because
and I love it when, and I mean, not to pull any punches, when I'm at CCW, I'm more behind the scenes and I'm their press guy. And yes, some things might be coming. And as Nate Stein, that's the message I keep telling everybody. Like, you are your own best promoters. Don't just think that you have this following or this amazing, yes, you might have been in the business for 12 years. Does anybody know who the hell you are? Or if they, and better yet, if they do, if you think you have a following, wouldn't it be important to tell them where they can come see you? So it should be a mutual understanding. And even if Facebook wasn't in the equation, and even from like a sales perspective, for those, and God, I hate peer-to-peer marketing, but the one thing they have well is those people many times know how to sell what they are doing.
Bingo.
And so, are you in your workplace, or are you with your friends going, hey, do you like wrestling? Do you like professional wrestling? Have you ever come to see a live event? Well, you know what? I'm on this event. Why don't you come see me next Saturday?
I often said the same thing about buying commercial radio spots, because unless you're buying those spots in prime time, if you're buying overnight spots, 9 times out of 10, people are going to be too drunk driving home from the bars.
Right.
To actively hear the spec. It's like, okay, you got a show on Saturday night and you can turn around and you run the ad late night Friday night. How many people are going to remember that Saturday morning when they wake up?
Right. And that's the one thing that floors me, even with cable advertisement, like direct on cable advertisement during the last segment of Raw, depending on your town, isn't that expensive. I mean, Baltimore, to run a commercial spot on the last commercial segment of Raw before it goes off the air, it's $150 for a 30-second spot.
That's not bad.
Nothing.
That's not bad.
That's nothing. Philadelphia, I think, is twice that, but it's twice the population. It makes sense.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay.
No, I was saying you're absolutely right. Look at the population of Philly. My God, if you can get 20% of the normal coverage, and then actually be able to get those eyes on the fact that you're running a show that week, it's like, holy crap.
Right. And to me, it's when I try to talk to some promoters about advertisement, how they advertise, I try to explain it as, think of it in simple math. If it's going to cost $300 to run this one commercial and you're charging $10 a ticket, do you think you'll get 30 people with that use of that money for advertisement to recoup your costs?
Exactly. I mean, and here's the thing. The company I work with, we were on television Sunday morning, 1 a.m., and we were pulling on that time slot anywhere between a 1.8 and a 2.4. And amazingly enough, and this is the sad part about life, Ring of Honor was coming on primetime Saturday night, 6 p.m., and they were pulling maybe a 0.2.
And when I say this is nothing about the level of competition at Ring of Honor or the people who are in the ring at Ring of Honor, but they have a horrible advertisement. They really think they can run just off their name and people will come and find them. And it's really, you do know you need to let people know you're going to be there. And so what they've tried to do to offset that, because honestly, who are the biggest marks in the world of professional wrestling? Honestly, it's some of the boys.
Yeah.
So what they do is they run these training camps to get kids to come in. Oh, we'll evaluate you. Pay us $300.
Right.
Oh, but by the way, we're going to utilize you. Oh, but before we give you an opportunity, before we invest in you, you need to invest in us. Why don't you put up all these flyers for us? And to a degree, I totally get that. If you're a trainee, if you're a green kid, yes, you should be grabbing flyers and you should be helping to put up as much advertisement as anybody else. But a lot of these guys are sort of like, I know what the deal is. Sure, I'll take all your flyers. Maybe I'll post them. Maybe I won't.
Well, see, dude, like I said, I'm a 25-pluser in the world of pro wrestling, and I'm not afraid to grab a stack of flyers and hit the 7-Eleven because I know most of the ones that I put them in won't get torn down, and people will actually see them. So, yeah, right. I'm not afraid to do it, but I'm smart about the approach to it. Am I going to put them in every one? No. Am I going to put them up with somebody I know is working, or a friend of a friend is working, or a friend of a family member is working? Yes. That way I know it's still going to get maximum exposure. So you take, but that comes with experience and that comes with time. And the one thing that I've always told people, especially when they're first starting to get into the world of pro wrestling, first starting to train to get inside the ring, is be patient with yourself all the way across the board. Agree or disagree on that?
I would agree. At the same time, not so patient that you are laid back and not trying to push for yourself. Because, and this is where the double-edged sword of professional wrestling comes in. You as a wrestler, you have to be your own best marketer and publicist.
Thank you.
And booker and driver and everything else. But then the fault comes when you believe your own crap.
No.
When you think you are the absolute most amazing thing walking on earth and you don't think anybody can touch you. And then that's where the fault lies. So you have to find this very delicate balance of promotion without being self-deprecating and not also going over that ego ledge.
Oh, I understand that concept oh so well. I have friends in this industry and I have friends in the sport of professional wrestling who are like, I am it. No, you're not. When's the last time you went out to do a personal appearance and get people into the damn show? No, you're not. But we could have that kind of discussion all night long about the various personalities. Now, especially the in-depth hidden personality traits of a lot of the people in this industry of pro wrestling and in the sport of pro wrestling. And for the long-time listeners, I didn't say business of pro... Oh, crap, I just did. Drink. Okay. That's actually the Beyond Ringside Radio Network drinking game. There was one show that I was a part of, and I actually said the business of pro wrestling or pro wrestling business or the business somewhere in the neighborhood of like 15 times in 1 hour of the broadcast. And so the host of that show, a longtime friend of mine, decided to go ahead and come up with the gimmick. Anytime Eddie says the business, drink.
So you just said it 4 times in the last 60 seconds.
Well, no. It doesn't count if you say it in the example or the build-up. It only counts if you say it during the execution of a organic sentence.
Okay, I got you.
Now, coming away from the personality side, I will stay on a different part of the personality side. I'm going to ask you to fill in the blank. And this is we have a gimmick here every once in a while that we do called the lightning round. Okay. And it's 2 minutes where there is no wrong answer. But one of the questions that I ask during that lightning round is, I'm working blank tonight. It's going to be a good day.
Are you asking me that, or is that the example?
No, that's the question.
I'm sorry. I'm working blank tonight. I am working...
You can either put a
Eric
city...
Embry.
Oh, cool.
I'm a huge Eric Embry mark from the day.
Haven't heard that name in a while, and I'm damn glad to hear it. Tell you what, how brave are you?
Let's go for it.
This is where I wish tag team partner Mark Mabo Bowman were here because he has the full build-up. He would do it in just true style, and that's all I'm going to say. He started nicknaming it the Lightning Mike Quackenbush Jushin Thunder Liger White Lightning Tim Horner lightning round.
You know, you've just killed me by the name of the mention of Mike Quackenbush, but okay, please keep going.
Tell him I said hi. And actually, I worked with him first time back, and I believe it was 99 down here in Birmingham when he and Rec actually came down to do a show. Let's take a shot at it. Ladies and gentlemen, the Phenom Phil Stamper is just about to enter the lightning round. Give us 5 words to best describe you outside of the ring.
Creative, communicative, intelligent, driver, and stupid.
The biggest prankster you've met at this point.
Chance Prophet.
Good one. Very good one. Your Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling.
That's so unfair.
Tell you what, I'll come back to it. I'll give you time to think about it.
Okay.
Here's the heart of the batting order. Who were the better Super Friends sidekicks, Zan and Jaina, or Wendy Marvin and Wonder Dog?
Wendy Marvin and Wonder Dog.
Doris Roberts from Everybody Loves Raymond, or Betty White? Who has the better sex tape?
Doris Roberts.
Back when they were really pushing the storyline, who did Sheamus really look like, or which? A human jar of mayonnaise or Beaker from The Muppet Show?
Beaker from The Muppet Show.
What is the one food you can't resist, even while dieting?
Pizza.
Horseshack from Welcome Back Kotter or Steve Urkel? Who would you trust more as a hairstylist?
Steve Urkel.
Optimus Prime, Voltron, or the Season 1 Megazord from the Power Rangers? Which is more likely to get cavity searched at Philly's airport?
The second one.
Better tag team training partners, Betty and Wilma or Tootie and Jan Brady?
Betty and Wilma.
What are you more afraid of? Or actually, no, what is your ultimate weekend? Shopping trip with Lindsay Lohan, cooking lessons from Gordon Ramsay, or going on a bender with Charlie Sheen?
Cooking lessons with Gordon Ramsay.
Better rivalry, Roadrunner and Wile or Tom and Jerry?
Roadrunner and Wile.
Which will take you screaming into the night, Jerry Springer or Maury Povich?
Jerry Springer.
Knowing that they would never try to get even, who would be your ultimate mark to pull a prank or a rib on, and what would it be?
This is going to be horrible. Raven Morhart, and I would have to prank him with somehow being on an event.
You're getting ready to work a traditional war game style matchup, and we were asking this one long before the WWE released the DVD. Who would be your tag team partners in the war games? The Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, or One Direction?
One Direction, the dudes are actually getting kind of buff now.
Which would you rather play, violin or fiddle?
Fiddle.
Scarier place to work a match, nightclub or national TV?
National TV.
Overdrive 5 coming up.
Did you say better place?
Huh? Scarier place.
Nightclub.
Here's the Overdrive 5. Which would you rather own, Twitter or Facebook?
Facebook.
Which is more fun for you to play on, a computer or an Etch-a-Sketch?
Computer.
Favorite reality show, non-wrestling?
The Real World.
What type of vocal impressions do you do, other than Howie Mandel?
Boo. I can do Irish, and I have an announcer voice.
Which would you be more afraid of, boxing an octopus underwater or a shoot fight with Dan Severn's mustache?
The octopus.
And the final question in the lightning round. Team Stamper, what animal is the mascot?
A lion.
It took you a minute to think of that one, didn't it?
I don't know. That one kind of threw me. Of all of the questions, that one threw me.
And believe it or not, I've still got 30 more on the list. I keep adding to this thing every week. It's like when something hits, write it down. And ladies and gentlemen, the Phenom Phil Stamper has just successfully survived the lightning round of Beyond Ringside Back to Basics. Now, I'll come back to you on the one that we skipped. Give me your Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling.
Lou Thesz, Hackenschmidt. I'll have to keep Lincoln because, according to NWA legend, he actually wrestled in an NWA wrestling event way back in the day. That's a difficult one. I'm going to say... Oh, I know all my Southern friends are going to kill me, but if I have a fourth one, I'm going to say Vince McMahon Sr.
Okay. No, I can see the McMahon Sr. part because he was an inspiration for Junior. And so was Jim Crockett. Now, first off, let me go ahead and ask, where are you going to be in the upcoming days?
Sure. Actually, this weekend I'm doing a filming for a spec pilot for a movie. So I'm very excited about that. I'm a little nervous, but very excited. Then on August 10th, I'm at CZW, and on August 17th, I'm at AIWF Mid-Atlantic, where I'm doing yet again the steel cage Money in the Piggy Bank ladder match.
I have not heard of anybody doing that, and I'm sorry, I'm popping for that huge.
There are a lot of people who said that they never heard of a ladder match in a cage before, and then let alone this whole Money in the Bank, Piggy Bank ladder match concept.
Like I said, the Money in the Piggy Bank concept just absolutely threw me, and I'm digging every second of it.
And that's the point. Every match that night is in a steel cage.
Now,
and AIWF is the originator of the all matches in a steel cage event from like 20 years ago.
I believe it. Now, let me go ahead and ask you right off the top. I know that you've been doing some advanced PR for this one, and you kind of pulled the curtain back on that a few minutes ago. I didn't know if you wanted to do that, but when you did it, it's like I'm going to jump on the opportunity. I made the reference to Tangled Web coming up in the near future. August the 10th from Voorhees, New Jersey. Another state that has had a number of different great pro wrestling companies light up inside that state. I mean, it's like the northeastern United States. You may see a couple of different companies that will rotate. They may be in New York State one week, they may be in Pennsylvania the next, or another month later, and they'll come up to New Jersey. But Jersey has always had a great run as far as the difference and the variety of the companies that come up there. And we've got some good companies down here, and we've got a ton of companies down here. I just wish that some of the companies would take the business model from the Northeast and go, maybe they're onto something, and try to see if that would work down here about being able to actually rotate states and not kill each other in the process. But how much of Tangled Web do you know right off the top of your head? You're making reference to AR Fox being there. Yes,
it's AR Fox, Andrew Everett, Drew Gulak versus Masada. Wow, my brain is melting into a pool of mush. It is going to be the Nation of Intoxication's Danny Havoc and Lucky 13 versus Scotty Vortex of the Naptown Dragons and Drew Blood in the Tangled Web match. And then there's other things I know I cannot say.
Did you honestly say the Nation of Intoxications?
I honestly said the Nation of Intoxication. The first time I saw that everything said, I thought Danny Havoc was intoxicated and didn't mean to say it, but it was actually what he meant to say.
I have to say this, but I always get accused of name dropping, but I actually worked with Danny a couple of years ago at IWA Deep South Carnage Cup. And tremendous young man, great. And I was talking to a DJ, but Danny doesn't always like to do press and stuff like that. So it's like, I can understand. I'll just see him the next time I see him at an event. But he was tremendous in that show, and he was great to talk to and hang out with that night. When I saw Nation of Intoxications, and the other thing I have to ask you about, and I don't know if you can expound on it, that's great. The Gulak campaign for a better combat zone.
Yes. Drew Gulak is definitely one of the more intelligent people in the world of professional wrestling. He definitely has his own look at life and the way he likes to see things, so he would like to apply that to the combat zone.
Okay. And you said he's going to be facing Masada on August 10. Now, let me also ask you, with the different companies under the umbrella of the AIWF. Now, I know that's Allied Independent Wrestling Federations. We've had a couple of different promoters from the AIWF on here so far. How good is the exchange of ideas and talent from the different companies in the eastern area for or the eastern seaboard for AIWF?
Well, it's a mix because it still is. I mean, the whole point of the AIWF to a degree is be your own person, but know that you're not alone. So, or be your own company, but know you're not alone. So there, in some of them, they exchange very well. I think of Empire in Tennessee. I think of AIWF Mid-Atlantic in North Carolina. I think of DSCW down in Georgia. Very easy to exchange. Rudy Gonzalez and a couple of his guys from Texas, AIWF Texas, just came up to AIWF Mid-Atlantic this past weekend. So there is a freedom of exchanges of talent. The AIWF World Heavyweight Champion Kyle Matthews has been traveling everywhere with that belt, and I mean everywhere. Mm-hmm. He is going back and forth across both sides of the country, and this is a guy that has international travel experience as well, so he's a tremendous representative for AIWF.
Been meaning to ask, and this was something I normally ask halfway through the interview, the top 5 or your personal top 5 that you have faced and the top 5 that you want to face.
Ooh, that's let's see, my top 5 skill-wise, or top 5 fun, or top 5...
However you want to put it in there, and let them guess on their own.
Gotcha. I'm gonna have to say, Chance Prophet is in one of my top 5. Even though we didn't have a great match, he's a tremendous competitor. Wow, that's a really difficult question. Carlton Kaz or James Avery from Ohio. Always love to be in the ring with him. This is really difficult. Supremely Great from Pennsylvania. Wow, my brain is thinking of like too many people all at once, and too many more recent than past. Like James Anthony, I had a great match with last month. And tremendous competitor. Who else? That's a good question. Deacon B. Furious. Those are probably my top 5 favorite.
Okay.
Top 5 I'd want to be in the ring with, Kyle Matthews, he comes to mind. Alex Colon has been really impressing and really shaping up. I'd really like to face up against him. Brian Gott, guy from Iowa. Jonathan Crane. He's a friend from Indiana. And I'm going to say Donnie Tsunami as well. He's an old friend from Indiana.
And you reminded me of a franchise question that I like to ask on here. Whether it be to relive because you had so much fun doing it, or to redo for any reason whatsoever, what is one match you'd like to have back?
Well, I won't say the one where the guy I worked was drunk and high about 3 months ago.
That was not me. I resemble.
Yeah. Oh, God, help me. So I'm going to, you know what, since I mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and say the match was Chance Prophet.
Okay. And I'm going to assume it's not for the reason that you started to slide earlier.
Right. Honestly, I had been out of the ring for almost like a year and a half at that point.
Okay.
I was not the competitor I wish I was at that point.
Okay. Now, if I could, how can everybody find you on social media and get in touch? And we'll take the social media part and then booking information after that.
Sure. You can find me on Twitter at PSPhenom. That's PSPHENOM. You can find me on Facebook /PStamper. You can also like my Doctor Who podcast, which is Podcast Who. I know I'm also a tremendous geeky nerd and huge into Doctor Who. You can also, I think, actually, you can also find me on YouTube at PSPhenom. You can find me on Xbox at PSPhenom. You can find me on, oh my gosh, I probably still have an AOL Instant Messenger name as PSPhenom. That seems to have been a trend for a while. And then if you are interested in booking me, please feel free to contact me at PSPHENOM. That's PSPhenom at hotmail.com. Yes, I know I'm one of 5 people who have a Hotmail account.
Now, what was the Hotmail again?
PSPHENOM.
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 Okay, cool. Phil, I want to thank you for taking the time to come on board this evening. You've been great, and I just want to invite you to come back on again sometime soon. The door's definitely open, man.
Anytime. I'm more than appreciative to be here.
Any closing comments you'd like to throw out to the fans of the show that you're going to be heading for soon?
I'm looking forward to see everybody. Make sure you check out websites like czwrestling.com, AIWF.net, ninjaswin.com, because we're trying to get a distribution deal, so check out ninjaswin.com for Ninjas vs. Monsters. And even, geeksradio.com.
Tell me about it.
Geeksradio.com is a podcast network made up from different entities from the Enlight Podcast Network. So it currently has my Doctor Who podcast on it, as well as a Star Trek podcast called Trek Off. It's a not safe for work Star Trek podcast that is also in the process of doing a documentary movie. And they've actually filmed it, and they're in the process of editing it now.
I saw that when I was cross-referencing the IMDb gimmick, or the IMDb database. Now, I'm going to ask. I was about to let you run, but you opened up Pandora's box, so to speak. Sorry, Wick, had to say it like that. You opened up
go for it.
Okay. Now, when it comes to Trek Off, I have not had a chance to listen, so I'm flying blind on this one. But I'm just going to ask, what was the basis for it, and what does it do?
Trek Off is, I don't want to say it makes fun of Star Trek. It definitely does not do that. Because everybody who is on Trek Off is really a huge fan of Star Trek. But they look at some of the lighter sides of the comedy of it, or they look at, they talk a lot about sex in different ways with different people and different aliens. It's just sort of a topic that they'll grab from Star Trek, but then run with it, and just sort of whatever is encompassing in that topic. And like I said, it's a not safe for work podcast.
Now, you've got technically 6 to play with in that regard. You've got the original series, you've got Deep Space Nine, Voyager, The Next Generation, 5, and Enterprise.
Mm-hmm. And the new movies.
I forgot about the movies. Sorry, well, I didn't include that. I didn't include that. That's actually going to be an entirely different animal because well,
okay. Now here's where my super nerddom comes in, because really the new movies are still in the continuity of everything else that came before, because they retconned it by doing a future thing. So Spock and Nero go back in time and they change history. So therefore, everything that happened before Spock ended up happening, and just now it's because time has changed, everything's moving forward differently.
Right. They did the alternate reality gimmick in the first movie.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's where I jumped on it. It's like, I'm sitting back going, okay, which way are we going with this? And then I saw alternate reality. It's like, oh, they can open up so many doors, and I just hope. And I'm from the school that said there are Trekkies and Trekkers.
Mm-hmm.
And of the original series, now I'm not the uber nerd when it comes to picking things apart, although I've had 4 different versions of the schematic of the NCC 1701. And yes, okay, uber nerd. But I didn't get that heavily involved. But when they came out with, did you pop when they made the show that had things that how Star Trek affected the future? Did you ever see that show?
Pieces of that, but in a way, by the time Next Generation came out, but probably like by the time Deep Space Nine came out, much of what was in the original series was existing.
Yeah.
And even as time has progressed even further, it was still there. So they talk about it, but at the same time, it's like, well, yeah, Bluetooth exists. Yeah, pads exist. Yeah, cell phones exist.
Yeah, and for me personally, it was Nextels, because you could flip it, press the button, and get direct link in.
Mm-hmm.
And if you had a network, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, the things that sort of floor me now when it comes to on the scientific end is Stephen Hawking is actually looking at warp field theory. That when he got a tour of the set of Star Trek, he actually was like, I'm working on that now. To look at that there is actually people who have worked on designs for a transporter and have actually been able to transport small, like when I say small, I mean like 15 protons worth of like transported matter.
Because the energy needed to do something like that would be just completely off the scale.
Right.
We can actually go full scale on this one, probably another hour, and I know that you want to get back to enjoying your Tuesday night, but Phil, I want to thank you. And like I said, I'd love to have you come back on sometime and talk about all the other different projects you're working on.
Sure, anytime. Let me know.
Be careful. I'll hold you to it. Ladies and gentlemen, our very special guest at this time, the phenom Phil Stamper, has just gone beyond ringside. Hang tight with us. We're keeping it live on a Tuesday night on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
You're so annoying.
You're so annoying.
Stop copying me.
Stop copying me.
Mom, tell her to stop copying me.
Mom, tell her to stop talking to me.
Kids will spend 10 minutes copying everything their sibling says.
You're such a
You're
doofus.
such a doofus.
How about 2 minutes to brush their teeth? Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
Mom!
A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Imagine me, a dog, moving in with a human. I didn't know how it would work. Turns out, my human's pretty entertaining. For instance, every time I give my human his ball, he throws it as far as he can. And I'm like, dude, that's your ball. So I go get it. But he just throws it. Again. I gotta say, though, the more he does it, the funnier it is. I love my human.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Hi, I'm Joe Perry. And Steven Tyler from Aerosmith, here for RAD, recording artists, actors, and athletes against drunk driving. Yeah, you know we love it when the music does the talking.
And you know, the music stops when someone gets killed.
So never let someone you know get behind the wheel if they've been drinking. So keep it real. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Joe Elliott from Def Leppard for RAD. Planning on going out and having a party? Great, have a lot of fun. But do me a big favour and don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives. You should too.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is. Because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
Maria Inez Phillips talks about not recycling.
I've got too many newspapers and magazines and catalogs in there with plastic containers and bottles and cans.
Your trash can is full of recyclables?
No, it's full of trash.
You say trash, Maria. I say rubbish.
Whatever it is, I'm not going through it. I just don't get it.
Some things are very obvious, Maria.
Learn the difference between trash and recycling and more.
I put out way too much trash to think about recycling.
Visit YouGottaBeKidding.org today.
Patty, I boldly went to socialsecurity.gov, and it's out of this world.
Socialsecurity.gov is a website for everybody.
Even teenagers?
Absolutely. Young people can help their grandparents with retiring online or getting extra help with their Medicare prescription drug costs.
So really, everyone of all ages should go to socialsecurity.gov.
Boldly go.
You know that the ice cream scoop can make a child smile, and that by slowing us down, the traffic light can keep us going. You know that the lawnmower makes life easier, that the blood bank makes life possible. But did you know all these ideas came from the minds of African Americans? Support the United Negro College Fund, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Visit uncf.org or call 1-800-332-UNCF. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Confusion ever someone or have sudden...
Have you ever had sudden confusion, trouble speaking, or understanding someone?
It could be one of the 5 signs of stroke.
Sudden weakness or numbness of the face, arm, or leg.
Sudden trouble with vision in one or both eyes.
Suddenly having trouble walking or difficulty with balance.
Or a sudden intense headache that comes out of nowhere.
Don't wait. Call 911 immediately.
Time lost is brain lost.
Find out more at powertoendstroke.org. Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Charlie. I fight fires and I save lives.
My name's Renee. I'm a cardiologist. I save lives.
My name's Anthony.
I'm an EMT. I save lives.
You don't have to be a professional to save a life. Firefighters, doctors, and others save lives. You can too. Don't wait. To learn more about the warning signs and how you can help prevent suicide, visit save.org. In a crisis, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK.
With video games, I'm often choosing between what my kids want and what I think is best for them.
Hey, Mom, how about this one?
Rated T for teen with violence and suggestive themes. Let me check the rating summary. Frenetic combat, cries of pain, female warlords expose cleavage.
Maybe the other one's better.
The rating summaries are free. Use them, and you'll be armed with the world's most powerful weapon, knowledge.
For more information, go to esrb.org.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi, I'd like to report a bear sighting, as in Smokey Bear.
Continue.
I was burning yard waste. He told me to remember that if it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave.
You know, 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans. That means 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented.
I know that now.
As usual, the talking bear gets all the credit. Always burn responsibly and contact your local fire department for open burning regulations. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at smokeybear.com. Only.
And Eddie, there are times when it really pays to leave the proper headset on. Want to say greetings and welcome back in 29 before the top of the hour. Welcome into Beyond Ringside. Back to basics Tuesday night. Fast Steady Lane behind the control panel. Like to welcome in a longtime friend and colleague. He has been known by Varen Von Awesome or Tide Von Awesome or by Justin Rosenberg. Justin, how you been, man?
I'm all right. How are you?
Longtime friends of Beyond Ringside are going to recognize Justin from many on-air broadcasts. Glad to have him on board. And actually, I was going through the archives. And if I have not said this recently, I want to say thank you again for helping to set up the interview with Dale Torborg here on BR a couple of years ago.
Wow, that was a while ago.
I still remember it, and
I'm getting thanks for things I did 4 years ago. I haven't done much well lately.
Now, you actually, a couple of months ago, were at a live event. I believe it was at Allstate, right?
Yeah. It was at the pay-per-view out there.
Yeah.
Was it called Payback?
I think it was. Because you were you sent over a couple of shots on cell phone, and I'm sitting back going, you lucky devil.
That was a fun night. It was actually a lot of fun because the Blackhawks were in the Stanley Cup final at the time. And so I just kept screaming that Cena was a Bruins fan. And it made people hate him more.
That will do it.
Hockey reference, Eddie.
Oh no, I love the hockey reference because immediately, I think it was after that pay-per-view. It was the Bruins. It was the Bruins and the Blackhawks who were playing, and there was a photograph.
They were playing at the time.
Yeah, but there was a photograph that was posted on social media that had John Cena paying off a $1 bet to CM Punk. I don't know if you ever saw that or not.
I did. You know, the biggest pop of the night was when I think Punk had the first GTS because he gave Jericho about 32 of them. And he screamed out Blackhawks in 7. They actually won in 6.
Yeah. Because we've actually had a number of different conversations about the Stanley Cup playoffs here over on the Sunday night show. And we had a young lady on who is she works with a couple of different promotions doing everything from merch to PR. And her name was Wiggy. And she and Ted Guinness decided to make a bet. And I think, trying to remember the teams that they were backing at that time, but the team that Ted was backing made it further into the playoffs than the team that Wiggy was backing, and we were supposed to have the two of them back at the same time, but the schedules just have not permitted, even after all this time. Now, you and I have had some very intriguing conversations over the time that we've known each other about everything from WWE to Impact and some of the other promotions that you've heard about and some of the promotions I've heard about. Do we both wish that the wardrobe malfunction on Brie Bella last night would have happened in stereo where available, or are we okay that it happened in mono?
I'm okay that it happened in the YouTube era.
Did you happen to see all of the different memes, the little gimmick pictures that everybody was putting up of that?
No, I haven't. I've been at work all day, and it's very, very difficult for me to look up pornography on my work computer. But
it's on
I'm trying to work
Facebook.
around that.
I don't look up porn. It's on Facebook, and that's about as pornographic as you can get sometimes. It's like asking.
No, I haven't, Joe.
It's like asking Ashton Kutcher to have a lobotomy. It's like, why be redundant?
Yeah.
But
they look large.
Not really, because if you watch some of the vignettes that they've done for Totally Divas, a show that I will probably never watch, not even if you put a gun to my head, because the thing that turned me off of that whole concept was A, it's the Bellas, B, the way that the Bellas just totally crapped on a match that occurred recently with Caitlyn and AJ, or a situation that they were in. I mean, just totally crapped on it. And 3, and C, it's the Bellas. I'm just not a fan. I've never have been. I mean, they're reasonably cute, and that's about it. And they think that
You know what?
Go ahead.
You know what? If you want to do an indirect tie and a reason to like the Bellas, you don't have the SummerSlam main event without them. It definitely helps that Daniel Bryan is dating the sister of John Cena's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
just don't act like it's because he's getting cheered. He's been cheered like this for over a year.
I'm just
for a while.
Yeah, really.
For a long time.
When you found out that The Miz is going to be hosting SummerSlam, what popped in your head?
That The Rock should be in the main event, and then he should crap all over it.
That would be fun. I would enjoy that moment.
Wouldn't it be a nice turnaround if The Rock was in the SummerSlam main event and they made it all about The Miz, and The Rock got shoved to the side?
I would thoroughly enjoy that moment. I'm not a Dwayne hater in any capacity, but I just felt that him hosting WrestleMania was a big. Look, you can try all you want to, but there's only so many different ways you can try to polish a turd, and it's going to be a turd regardless. And Dwayne hosting WrestleMania was a turd.
You can say what you want about him hosting it. It wasn't very good, but it wasn't very good not because of Dwayne Johnson, but because the roster was so weak at that point, and they'd lost so many performers in the course of the year. I don't think they'd lost. Between WrestleMania 26 and WrestleMania 27, I don't think they'd lost that number of main event performers like that since the WrestleMania 12 to 13. And
True.
That's why WrestleMania 13 has always been considered terrible. And 27 was probably worse, but saved in the buy rate because people watched for The Rock. So if nothing else, he saved them from having maybe the lowest buy rate of the last 20 years.
I can genuinely see that. I'm just not a big fan of somebody who has the talent. Okay, and granted, using the words "The Rock" and talent in the same sentence in this day and age is not exactly the most politically correct thing to do. But when have you ever known me to be PC, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's never been the best worker. He's always let his athleticism speak for itself in the ring. He was never a 5-star worker.
No, it never was. But he was always 5-star on the mic. And he kind of sacrificed that when he came back.
Yeah, because he went. The thing that was weird about it, the comeback was he'd go from recycled material and they'd say, "All right, I'm Dwayne now." And they talk to Dwayne, "All right, I'm going to Rock now." Okay.
Yeah.
First off, it's weird that you're going back and forth, but it's weird that you're telling us what you're going to do.
Yeah. Now,
I mean, I don't know. I think you definitely saw the shine off The Rock with the WrestleMania 29 buy rate, which I think was probably the best thing for wrestling. I mean, it's rehashed the last year or two to put it on the same show. Just a bunch of rematches.
Yeah, Rock Cena 2 should have taken place at a SummerSlam.
Should have. Because I think the point that people miss about Rock Cena 1 is that it wasn't a very good match.
No.
It just wasn't. I mean, I remember watching it and thinking, wow, this is it?
Yep.
And then you started getting word that they were going to do it again, and I'm like, why? Like,
yeah,
Hogan Rock was epic. Rock Cena wasn't.
Was epically bad.
There was just no back and forth. I mean, what made Hogan Rock epic wasn't that they were two great performers in the ring. It was that they were really great at working the crowd, and they got the crowd had a choice to make, and they chose
and
Hogan.
And
it was
They chose a split at first, and then they started cheering Hogan, then they started cheering Rock, then they went back to split all over again, and I thought it was tremendous that they were able to pull that off the way that they did.
Yeah. No, but with Rock Cena, there was no choice to be made. It was in Miami, and it was a snarky WrestleMania crowd. They were going Rock all the way. I mean, even the kids in the arena were going to go Rock because he's the hometown guy.
And by the same token, that would have been the night to see the signs that you and I have come to know and love over the years. If Cena wins, we riot.
Which brings me to Cena Ryback, and how do you win that one at Payback?
You don't.
If either one, whoever wins, we riot. I mean, Jesus.
Well, I would rather Ryback go over in that circumstance due to the fact that he is not the worn-out, please pardon me for saying this, the worn-out road whore that Cena is right now. And that is why I am just absolutely elated. I am popping like the frickin' Zeppelin as far as the magnitude of it goes, considering the fact that Daniel Bryan is finally going to get the shot to main event SummerSlam.
Yeah, no, it's definitely it's something different. It's someone that deserves it, and I think that's the difference. I mean, I don't remember. I think it was when Daniel Bryan. It took me this long, by the way. When Daniel Bryan jumped through the ropes, okay, against Cesario last night, it dawned on me, like, this isn't a WWE match. Like, it's not. And it should have occurred to me during the 32, uppercuts from Cesario. But have you ever seen a Raw match like that?
It's
When's
rare.
the last time you saw that kind of match on Raw?
It's rare. Now, I just have one issue with that because you brought up the uppercuts from Cesaro, and the referee let him go uppercut, uppercut, uppercut ad nauseum, but yet Daniel Bryan gets Cesaro in a compromising position by tying up the legs, and then he starts laying in the forearms, and after the fourth forearm, the referee's pulling him off.
Well, if we're really going to get into the wrestling logic, I mean, your head's going to blow up if you try to get into that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we can go in 30 different directions on that. But by the same token, it's like, look, I understand the fact that the heel is supposed to do this, 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 and this, and the babyface can only do this, this, and this. And it's just, but there are times when I sit back and go, come on. If you're going to stop him, get him back away and have the referee come over and check if he's still conscious.
Well, I think if we're going to get into heel face, what's the word I'm looking for? Psychology here. I think you really got to look at the announcers as to me. You got with the referee, how his psychology is going, working the heel face angle. But look at the announcers. It's even worse than the heel face aspect because Cole and Lawler have nothing to retort when JBL says, well, tell him he's wrong. When a heel says something, JBL says, tell him he's wrong. 95% of the time, he's right.
Yeah.
Like, if you really... And there's nothing there's no retaliation.
Well, you really can't come back on Layfield for the way he does commentary. He's supposed to be heel, but he's working tweener about as well as Stone Cold Steve Austin did in season 3 of the character.
Yeah. No, he's doing real well. JBL's the best thing that kept going in that booth. And I've never disliked Cole. But JBL's legit. But at the same time, there's a psychology with heel and face up the mic. Most of the time, the heel's in the right, but they're defending the face.
Mm-hmm.
Even when he's blatantly wrong. And then, I guess they used to do that back in the early 90s and the 80s when it was PG at that point. It made more sense, But, I don't know, that bothers me as much as the Cesario uppercuts bothered you, I guess.
Well, it didn't bother me. It's just bothered me the way that it was handled. Because look, I also, since pro wrestling and MMA are going back and forth with the way they're doing things now, if you know as a referee that Daniel Bryan has just taken 20 freaking uppercuts from somebody and he's able to move around and be wobbly, he's going to be able to continue. But if you're the referee, you sell the psychology of the same thing in the other direction, where Daniel Bryan has got Cesaro down, legs locked up, and he's popping the uppercuts on him. Or popping the elbows on him. Guess what? Cesaro's not moving. He's not defending himself. You get Daniel Bryan to stop, you back him away, and you go in to check and see if sell the factor of, I'm selling concern for the person who's been taking abuse for the last few seconds. Can he continue? He can continue. Okay, go. And who was the referee for that match last night?
Off the top of my head, I don't remember.
I think it was Kyoto.
I don't remember. I think it was Kyoto. 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 I think Could have been.
He's been at this long enough. He knows. Well, even if it's Chad Patton, he's been there long enough. He knows. Leave it to a Hebner to screw it up, however, but that's a difference. I'd rather have Rudy Charles in there. Give me Mike Posey in there, but Mike Posey.
It was a ridiculous Raw match. It's one of the better Raw matches I've ever seen, probably because of the two ROH guys.
Yeah.
But I think that's a match that's going to make Cesaro. It's going to make him.
Well, see, I've had an issue with people saying that, or that WWE Creative and Vince is saying that Cesaro is boring. You have to be able to open up your mind and understand that punch kick only goes so far when you got somebody who freaking knows how to work in the ring with you.
Cesaro is boring. You know what Cesaro looks like?
What?
I mean, just look right at him. You know what he reminds me of when I look at him?
No.
The Ringmaster.
Austin?
Yes, when he was the Ringmaster.
I didn't see that.
You look at his hair. Look at his face. It just looks like him.
Cesaro to me is not boring, though.
What? Well, no, Cesaro's a little bit bigger. He's a little bit buffer. Austin's arms were always huge.
No, you were saying
that was always underrated about him. This guy's more defined. But the way he wrestles just reminds me of the old Ringmaster, and the looks there, and it reminds me because I always thought both characters were boring as heck.
I thought the Ringmaster was boring. I can't look at Cesaro and go boring. I think that he's, okay, straight shoot. I think that he is doing the best that he can with what he's being given in WWE right now, considering where he came from in the world and the business, drink, and the sport of pro wrestling.
Look, I'm not saying that Cesaro is boring. I'm saying the character's boring. There isn't one. The Ringmaster's boring. Steve Austin's the most entertaining guy in the history of wrestling.
Third most. Dusty Rhodes 1, The Rock 2, Stone Cold 3rd.
Yeah, Dusty Rhodes Forgotten Classic. Oh, that reminds me, when people always said that Jack Swagger couldn't get over because of a list. Look at one reason he can't get over is because of his list. It's like, all right. If you want to name the top 5 talkers in the history of wrestling, I mean, aren't 3 of them Dusty Rhodes, Mick Foley, and Ric Flair?
Pretty much.
I mean, that's a tangent, but that's what I can't stand when people say Swagger couldn't get over because there was a list. You know why Swagger couldn't get over? You want to know why Swagger can't get over?
Because he's vanilla.
I figured it out watching Raw last night.
What's that?
Because he can't do what Cesaro did.
That's why Swagger got 5 minutes and Cesaro got 12.
Yes, because he can't put on them, because those matches were night and day. One was night and day better. One was I thought, the best match that I've seen on Raw in over a year, and I put that up there against the Cena Punk match before Mania, and this match I thought was better, and the other match I thought was just a throwaway match.
Speaking of throwaway matches that rocked the house, I'm sorry, Jericho RVD from a couple of weeks ago was
an accident. That was a happy accident.
Y2J and RVD, an accident? Now, putting them together might have been an accident, but the match that they had was no accident. These guys lit it up.
They did, but they got an extra 10 minutes because the Punk Heyman segment ran over, and so they cut the Daniel Bryan segment. So that should have been 8 minutes. It was 18 minutes. That's what I mean by accident. As great as it was, it shouldn't have gotten that much time. I'm glad it did.
I'm glad it did because I was popping all the way through that match.
It was a great match. It was. And when I say accident, I just mean that you wouldn't have gotten that match if Punk and Heyman didn't go over. That wasn't the match you were supposed to get, so it was a happy accident.
It's nice to be able to have those. Now, I've asked all the current panelists this question. I want to pose this one to you. When Cena last Monday night he had that look like, I've got somebody in mind, I know who I'm going to pick, and then all of a sudden he stopped, halt, cease, desist, whoa, I'm going to change my mind, and I'm going to go with Daniel Bryan. Was that not the worst job of fake confusion, consideration, and changing one's mind that you have seen on television in the last 5 years?
It was, and it wasn't necessary, because he clearly had chosen Daniel Bryan before he walked out there. I mean, let's get into the psychology, but there's a reason he didn't say Daniel Bryan's name as an option.
Because he had the whole damn crowd doing it for him.
Yeah, I mean, come on. They wanted to make the crowd. Everyone knew what they were doing. I was really hoping they'd go a different direction, a couple directions. I mean, Jesus, give us something. I mean, tell us then that they're both dating the Bellas. Play a little twin magic. Which one is Daniel Bryan dating? She's got to be dating Brie because Brie got yelled at, right?
Yeah, it was Brie.
Okay, so he's dating Brie. So have Brie pose as the other Bella, and go in there and act as her sister, and tell John that she'd really love if he'd give Bryan Daniel a chance, and that she'll do anything for him if he does. And so he does it for her.
Yeah, but do you want to give the Bellas that much television time?
What?
Do you want to give the Bellas that much television time? They're already going to be hogging the camera time. On the, huh?
It's coming. It's coming.
Ugh.
Oh, don't kid yourself. Wait till Monday night. That show starts on what, Sunday?
Yes.
Yeah, that show starts on Sunday. That's the first time they'll ever go on TV acknowledging the real-life relationships between those two. Or between, the Bellas and Cena and Bryan.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait for it. They'll acknowledge it on Monday.
I didn't know that Nikki Bella came to the ring last night on crutches.
She was on crutches a couple weeks ago, too, when Brie Bella was in the match. I didn't know she was on crutches last night, though, either, but that's because they started the match in the ring.
Yeah, or they started the segment in the ring.
ring.
Yeah, and, I mean, okay, first off, I would say I'd like to wish her a speedy recovery, get back into the ring where we know you suck. In all seriousness...
back in the ring.
Huh?
I mean, just to get back in the ring.
Stay on the cover of Field and Stream or something. I don't know. Like I said, you can't pay me to watch Total Divas. I will not use my DVRs to give any credence and credit to the ratings of that show whatsoever.
Well, you know what? They've got, in my opinion, they've got 3 divas that can really wrestle on the main roster right now. And unfortunately, one of them got stuck in the show, but at least the other 2 aren't.
Now say that one more time.
I think they've got 3 divas on the roster that can actually wrestle, as opposed to just be eye candy.
And one of them's not even in the ring.
What?
One of them's not even working right now.
Who are you thinking?
Natalia.
She's on the show.
Yeah, but she's not in the ring.
And the other 2 aren't. Fortunately, the other 2 that can work aren't on this rough show.
Which 2 are you thinking?
I'm thinking of Agent Caitlin, who I actually think can work real well. You think otherwise? I think their matches have been highly entertaining.
No, they have been. I have no qualm with that storyline. I think they've done a good job on that. I mean, they're not... I hate to say it, but I feel like I'm 5 years ago. They're not doing as well, okay, with the exception of Mickie James. They're not doing as well, okay, with the exception of Gail Kim. They're not doing as well, oh wait, Tara just left, as the Knockouts division over on Impact. I mean...
Oh, have you ever talked to her, met her?
Say what?
Tara?
Tell me.
That's where we watch our pay-per-views.
Ah.
Just got a bar in the city.
Oh, okay. So she has a place up there.
Squared Circle.
Oh, tell her I said hi. She names it.
She knows you?
We've had a couple of exchanges back on the old MySpace.
Good to hear. Oh,
but
go on. Look, you're right. It's not the Knockouts division.
No, I mean,
you know what?
The Knockouts division was superior to the Divas division 5 years ago when Dutch Mantell ran it. And if nothing else, I would like to see Dutch get a hold of the Divas division of WWE and see what kind of hell he could raise with them. Especially...
Was it Steven? Was it this week or last week when he actually said Dutch Mantell?
Who?
Someone in the ring said Dutch Mantell. And I can't remember. It might have been Cena. Oh, he said I could have picked anyone. I could have picked... last week he said, what if I picked Dutch Mantell?
Yeah.
What was that all about?
Oh, it was just a nod to the IWC. The internet wrestling community. It's a nod to them. Kind of like the other night when Dutch was talking about all the different languages he heard spoken, and Cole came back and said, yeah, I heard somebody speaking Dutch too.
No, that's fine.
I popped for that. Well, tell you what, we're headed for the top of the hour. I'm getting ready to take it to the ranch. First off, thank you for coming on this evening. Always great to hear from you. And, of course, you know the door's always open, brother.
Good to hear.
Did we ever get you on Twitter?
I don't know. I'll find you. I'll find you.
There you go. I'm easy to find, at Beyond Ringside. And now, we're doing the Tuesday night gig. We've got the Sunday night. The flagship is still definitely going strong. And, of course, the new Saturday morning show, 10 o'clock a.m. Central. I'd love to have you come back on for any of them.
Well, my calendar's open. Just let me know.
And we're going to be doing the SummerSlam gimmick straight from Buffalo Wild Wings in Trussville. We're going to be back on location. Hopefully, I want to say thank you to Dino, Miranda, Chris, everybody up there. Amanda, bartender, yes, hello. Hi there, how you doing? But in all seriousness, now, if they get everything straightened out, because we had a couple of small problems with the internet connection up there last time, and we're hoping we can get all this stuff straightened out by the time we get ready to go up for SummerSlam. But definitely love to have you call in for it.
I will do my best.
Do me a favor, hang tight. Let me go ahead and take us on through, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we're going to be back at it this coming Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Yours truly, Fast Eddie Lane, along with the Hitman BDC, Ryan Adcock, as well as Robert Cosper, and we may just have some more surprises coming your way. The franchise, Sunday night, 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central. Fast Eddie Lane, Wicked Nemesis. Possibly Ted Guinness, definitely Tasha Simone, and you never know, we're going to have some surprises on there as well. The Machine, Guff Grayson, will be back joining us this next Tuesday night, 7 Eastern, 8 Central. And of course, by the way, folks, do not forget, tomorrow night, right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network, Wicked Nemesis, Tasha Simone and Company, for the To Be Determined show. Uncensored, but a hell of a lot of fun. Definitely check it out, 10 Eastern, 9 Central. I want to say thank you to the Phenom Phil Stamper for coming on board with us this evening. Great to be able to speak to him. Definitely check him out. PS Phenom over on Twitter. At Beyond Ringside on Twitter, Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live, and of course, the home, BeyondRingside.com. I'm going to get so much crap. I've got to go ahead and say this. I got to kill the music for one hot second and stop. Bear with me for while I do this, and I'm going to get shot. I want to remind everybody, wrestling fans in the state of Alabama, this coming Saturday night, I meant to do this at the top of the broadcast, but with everything going on, I got sidetracked 9 ways to every day. Figure that one out. My favorite day is Monday. Why? No reason. This Saturday night, Pell City, Alabama, Global Championship Wrestling returns to the Pell City Civic Center. Bell time is going to be 7:30. Doors open at 7. The reason why I make the reference to the fact that the doors open at 7 is there will be a special autograph signing by professional wrestling legend Jake the Snake Roberts. He will be with us this Saturday night in Pell City, Alabama. Looking forward to being a part of that. Main event is going to be Mad Dog Dan Sawyer and the GCW Heavyweight Champion, the leader of the Underground, Micah Taylor, taking on representatives of the Squared Circle, Jake Cole, Jeremy Foster. I'm not going to say this is going to be a wrestling match. I'm going to say this is going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight. And also that night, The Unlucky Charms, Damon Christopher Chris Knox, managed by, of course, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, will be taking on the newly reunited Critter Brothers, Scum and Scrub. Tag team titles on the line. And, of course, the women's title will be defended. And if you missed GCW Radio this past Sunday night, it will be in a 3-way dance. The Island Girl, Tracy Taylor, defending the GCW women's title against Taylor Hendricks and Tasha Simone, former multi-time NWA Women's World Champion, in a 3-way match. Definitely check it out, folks. Take a look over at Beyond Ringside's fan page, and you will find all the information. And, of course, GCW Radio is on the station. When we sign off and turn it back over to regular programming, get a chance to check it out, all the different shows that we've done in the last few days, and this one will be up and going before the end of the night. So once again, definitely check it out for wrestling fans, Central Alabama and Western Georgia. We'll see you in Pell City this Saturday night. Let's go and take it home. I will definitely see you this Friday night at Buffalo Wild Wings Alabaster. 9 p.m. start time. If you like to sing, if you know someone who does, or you just want to get the hell out of the house for a couple hours, drop by and say hi. For the Phenom, Phil Stamper. For the Missing in Action, and we'll be back soon, Machine Guff Grayson. For returning castmate, glad to have you back, brother, Baron Von Awesome, Justin Rosenberg.
Should I say something?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hi, everyone.
We'll get our timing down. We'll get the timing back, I guarantee it.
Yeah, we will. Peace.
This is the Magic City Motor Mount, Fast Eddie Lane. Until next time, adios, das vidania, hasta luego, auf Wiedersehen, ciao, sayonara, adieu, arrivederci, farewell, abbassino, au revoir. And until we meet again, aloha means bye-bye. We'll see you this Saturday, 11 Eastern a.m., 10 Central a.m., Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific in the evening, as we all once again go beyond ringside. Bye for now.